Hello everybody and welcome back to Sims History. My name is Pamela McVeigh and I work at Ursuline College, and I am going to work today on creating our very own version of Jean-Baptiste Lully, who was the head of the Royal Academy of Music under Louis XIV. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to try to make this sim look. I'm not very artistic. But I do know that we do need to establish some of his personality. And of course, Jean-Baptiste would not have looked anything like this particular sim. But what I'm actually going to do right away is try to pick his personality. And we can get on to making him look like himself a little bit later. So the question is, how do we determine which of the various sim personality traits to give him? Lully himself was born actually in Florence in 1632. He died of gangrene in 1687. And between 1632 and 1687, he came to dominate the entire world of French music. As Donald Grout and Hermine Weigel Williams' version of A Short History of Opera, and this is the 2003 edition, put it, Italian by birth, Lully came to Paris at the age of 14. Having been trained as a ballet dancer and violinist, he rapidly developed into a skillful conductor and composer. A combination of musical talent, ruthlessness, commercial shrewdness, and obsequious manners assured him a brilliant career under the patronage of Louis XIV. So that does give us some clues, and I think we're going to make him here not a, yes, we are Jean-Baptiste, and we're going to call him Lully instead of de Lully, which was the title he got later on in life. And I think that we are going to make him an adult. Now let's go with the adult. And I think we have a couple of clues. So we know, first of all, well, let's make the body, let's take off some of these ridiculous clothes because he's not, it's not going to be very easy to figure out what he's supposed to look like with these. Yeah, okay. And let's give him something a little bit more in fact, let's put him in, actually I like that. That's pretty good. The shoes, of course, are terrible. But anyway, let's get the socks off. There we go. No socks. Very good. So we know that he was a ballet dancer, so he was pretty strong, right? But he was also probably pretty lean, right? And when I look at photos of him, he was not a terribly broad-shouldered man. So let's make his shoulders a little smaller. And he had, you know what, we're going to have to actually look at his legs in the pool. Okay, let's see. He did have rather skinny legs, as I see in the one full standing image of him that I've got. Although, like many dancers, he had kind of a pronounced calf. That's maybe a little too pronounced. So that's a little bit of the body. He was, of course, a blonde, at least in his official photos. So let's at least deal with that part. Yeah, he was blonde. He certainly did not wear a ton of stubble like that. Where are we getting the stubble? Facial hair. Right, let's get rid of this facial hair. No, let's start. He actually had, in some of his photographs, a very small mustache, so let's go with that. He also had quite the honker. Let's go into that detail edit mode. That does seem to have been, one of the hallmarks of his physical appearance. Good enough for now. Now unfortunately, there's no, giant curly hair setting for men. All of these are pretty sad for a 17th century man's hair. I can't have them all end up wearing exactly the same hair, but you'll see what I mean a little bit later on in the video when I've got the pictures of him. Oh, and the eyeballs, of course. As far as I can tell from the eyeballs, he was, well, you know what? I can't remember what his eyeballs were. But in any case, we have got a bit of his personality here. He's a ballet dancer and a violinist. So clearly, one of the things he has is likes music, right? So he is a music lover. And he was a combination of musical talent, ruthlessness, commercial shrewdness, and obsequious manners. So let's say ruthlessness. Obviously, he's not interested in athleticism. Probably, creativity. Best, no. Musical, no. I think that this guy is more of a fortune person. Biggest, fanciest home. I think rich and have a successful career. And then we got the bookworm. What else do we need here? We need something that indicates his ruthlessness, right? He is ambitious, hugely ambitious. And I don't know that he was evil. I don't know. Not a guy who had evil plans so much as certainly not cheerful, genius, hot-headed, romantic, self-assured. He definitely was the kind of guy who did a certain amount of backstabbing. For instance, he used to say when early in his career that no operas should be written in French. They should all be written in Italian, which was, of course, his native language. But in 1672, Louis XIV actually revoked the permission of his then current directors of the Royal Academy of Music to stage operas. And that was when Lully shoved himself in or inserted himself in there, grabbed control of the Academy, and from then on actually held a monopoly on opera in France and was the sole composer and producer of opera. So he was kind of a backstabber. I say mean rather than evil. If anybody else hearing that description would like to suggest differently, I'm willing to do that. I guess let's get this fellow dressed because we're gonna try to go with. We're not gonna go with that for full body formal. That's awful. It's awfully difficult to do these full body. Yeah. To do these. Oh, that's not too bad actually. That's actually pretty good. Maybe just a little bit less bright color. And we're going to get rid of that hat because, nice, that hat's just got to go. No, not the detail edit. The hat's got to go, and then those pants are not really okay. We need something a little more form-fitting. Is that close-fitting enough? Oh, that's awful. That is just an awful look. And that's even worse. How about this? Ugh, terrible. We really need something. This is the other challenge, is that 17th century guys would be wearing quite form-fitting clothes. And most of the stuff that we're looking at here just doesn't allow for that. Okay. shoes. Of course, he would be in high-heeled shoes, but those are not amongst the allowable shoes for men. It's quite irritating. I'm going to have to start downloading some shoes for women. Well, these are fairly fancy and flashy. I think we'll go with those. Yeah, I think that is my draft version of Jean-Baptiste Lully, and I will show you a few little pictures of him as the real fellow in a few minutes. Right, so here he is. This is probably the best portrait that I've got of him, the only color one that I have access to. And you can see what I mean about the curly hair. His reputation was for being actually kind of funny and vivacious, as well as for being kind of a jerk. He was also reputed to be kind of homely, but I think that that's more an issue of 17th century standards. You can see from these images that, really even in curly hair and high heels and a frock coat, he's a pretty butch-looking guy. I think he's actually kind of good-looking, but, not really relevant to the video. Anyway, let me know if you think that I should do something different with his personality, or gosh, let me know if you have any access to beautiful Sims downloads that look more 17th century. Thanks, and please watch again.